This title is presented to you by Soundlibra.com. For more audiobooks like this, click the link in the description or visit our website at Soundlibra.com. Welcome to Think Long Term. Today we're launching into the profound idea of playing the infinite game.
It's a fascinating concept, Alex. Before we dive into the details, just a quick heads up for our listeners. We'll be mentioning companies like Patagonia today, but we're not affiliated with them in any way. This is an unofficial and independent look at their business philosophy.
Exactly. We're just using these as real-world examples to help explain shifting our perspective from short-term wins to enduring success. It starts with understanding a fundamental difference: the finite game versus the infinite game. Imagine two very different races. In one, the finish line is just ahead. Welcome back. Last time, we introduced the concept of the infinite game, a mindset focused on playing for keeps, not just for a win. Now, let's tackle a crucial skill that fuels this long-term perspective: the power of delayed gratification.
Delayed gratification. That's the idea of resisting a smaller, immediate reward in favor of a larger or more enduring reward later on, right? It sounds simple, but can be incredibly hard, especially in today's world of instant everything.
Exactly, Lisa. Think about it. We're bombarded with instant gratification. Streaming movies without waiting, fast food delivered in minutes, social media notifications pinging for our attention. This constant stream of immediate pleasure can rewire our brains, making it harder to resist impulse and much harder to aim for those bigger, future payoffs.
So, it's like our brains are getting trained to want things now rather than later. Can you give us a peek into the science behind that? Why is it so tempting to grab the marshmallow today instead of waiting for two tomorrow?
Absolutely. Neuroscience and psychology have explored this extensively. At its core, it's a battle between our limbic system, which craves immediate pleasure and reward, and our prefrontal cortex, the brain's executive control center. This part of the brain is responsible for planning, decision-making, and impulse control. The prefrontal cortex is like the wise advisor, while the limbic system is the pleasure-seeking child.
I like that analogy. The child wants the candy now, and the advisor knows that saving it will lead to a better treat later. But sometimes the child wins, doesn't it?
Oh, it definitely does. And the child often wins because the immediate reward triggers a release of dopamine, a neurotransmitter associated with pleasure and motivation. This creates a powerful, short-term reward loop. Delayed gratification, on the other hand, requires us to override that immediate dopamine hit. It's a deliberate act of self-control, strengthening the pathways in our prefrontal cortex.
So, developing delayed gratification is essentially training that thoughtful prefrontal cortex to be stronger than the impulsive limbic system?
Precisely. And the benefits are profound. Decades of research, like the famous Stanford marshmallow experiments, have shown a strong correlation between the ability to delay gratification in childhood and success later in life. This includes better academic achievement, improved physical health, stronger relationships, and even greater financial stability.
That's incredible. It's not just about willpower, it's about building a foundation for a more successful and fulfilling life. But how do we actually do it? What are some practical ways to cultivate this skill?
Great question. The first step is awareness. Understand your own triggers. When you feel the urge for instant gratification, is it when you're stressed, bored, or feeling deprived? Identifying these moments is key.
Okay, so know thyself. What's next?
Next, visualize the future reward. Make that future payoff tangible in your mind. If you're saving money, don't just think about a bank balance. Picture the vacation you're saving for, or the down payment on a home. Make that future reward feel real and desirable.
Visualize. That's a powerful technique. So, really paint a vivid picture in your mind of what you're working towards.
Exactly. Another strategy is to break down large goals into smaller, manageable steps. When faced with a big, distant reward, it can feel overwhelming. But if you can achieve smaller milestones along the way, each success provides a mini reward and reinforces your progress. This builds momentum.
That makes sense. It's like climbing a mountain. You don't just teleport to the peak. You focus on reaching the next foothold. Each small step feels like an accomplishment.
That's a perfect analogy. And this ties into the concept of shaping your environment. If you know that seeing junk food commercials makes you crave unhealthy snacks, you can take steps to limit your exposure to those ads. If you're trying to save money, maybe temporarily unfollow certain online retailers that trigger impulse buys.
So, curate your surroundings to support your long-term goals. Remove temptations where possible and create an environment that nudges you towards your desired outcome.
Yes, here's another important technique. Practice mindful waiting. When the urge for immediate gratification strikes, instead of acting on it, pause. Take a few deep breaths. Assess the situation. Ask yourself, is this impulse aligned with my long-term goals? This pause creates the space for your prefrontal cortex to come online and make a more considered decision.
That mindful pause sounds like a really practical habit to build. Just a moment to stop and think before reacting.
It is. And it's crucial to remember that delayed gratification isn't about suffering or deprivation. It's about making conscious choices that lead to greater well-being and achievement in the long run. It's about understanding that the effort you put in today pays dividends tomorrow.
So, it's about a strategic investment of your present self into your future self. It's not about saying no forever, but about saying yes to something better later.
Precisely. And this skill is absolutely foundational to playing the infinite game. Without delayed gratification, long-term vision becomes impossible. You'll always be pulled by the immediate, undermining your ability to build something lasting.
It's like building a sturdy house. You can't just put up the roof and expect it to stand. You need to lay a strong foundation, have a solid framework, and take the time to do things properly. Delayed gratification is part of that process. It's the patience to build that solid structure.
Well said. So, to recap, we've explored how delayed gratification involves a constant interplay between our immediate pleasure-seeking brain and our rational decision-making brain. We've learned that cultivating the skill means increasing our awareness of triggers, vividly visualizing future rewards, breaking down big goals, shaping our environment, and practicing mindful waiting.
And it all boils down to making conscious choices today that benefit our future selves, allowing us to truly play the infinite game rather than just a series of short sprints. It's about understanding that the most valuable rewards often require patience and strategic waiting.
Absolutely. The ability to delay gratification is a superpower. It allows us to navigate the immediate demands of life while keeping our eye firmly on the prize of a fulfilling long-term future.
And it's a skill we can all develop, no matter where we are starting from. It's about practice and intention.
Exactly. Next episode, Compounding Your Success, the Eighth Wonder.
Compounding. That sounds fascinating. I'm already looking forward to it.
Thanks for listening. Welcome back to Think Long Term, Infinite Game Short World. Compounding your success is the eighth wonder of the world.
Compounding. It sounds so powerful, Alex. I'm really eager to understand how we can apply this beyond just, money in the bank.
Exactly, Lisa. Many people think of compounding solely in financial terms, earning interest on interest. but its true magic lies in its universality. It's about how small, consistent efforts, when repeated over time, don't just add up, they multiply.
Multiply. That's the key word, isn't it? It's not linear growth, where you add the same amount each time. It's exponential.
Precisely. Think about it like a snowball rolling down a hill. It starts small, but as it picks up more snow, it gets bigger, faster. Each turn, it gathers more snow than the last. That's compounding in action.
That's a great visual. So, what's the connection to what we discussed last episode? Delayed gratification?
Ah, the connection is fundamental. Delayed gratification is the prerequisite for compounding. You have to be willing to wait. You have to resist the urge for immediate, small rewards to allow those small efforts to build and compound into something much larger over time. If you constantly get rid of your small gains or give up before the snowball really gets going, you'll never experience that exponential growth.
So, it's about patience then? Because I imagine compounding doesn't happen overnight.
Absolutely not. Compounding is a long-term game. It thrives on time. The longer you let those small efforts compound, the more dramatic the results. Imagine planting a tiny seed with consistent watering and sunlight. Those are your small, daily efforts. It grows into a sapling, then a mature tree. That tree doesn't just produce a few fruits. It can produce thousands season after season. Each fruit represents a compounded return on your initial effort and ongoing care.
That makes so much sense. So, we're talking about compounding not just in terms of wealth, but in skills, knowledge, relationships, health, anything we consistently invest in.
You've hit the nail on the head, Lisa. Let's take skills, for instance. If you decide to learn a new language and you dedicate just 15 minutes each day, that's your small, consistent effort. In a week, that's a little over an hour and a half. In a month, it's about 7.5 hours. But the real magic isn't in the raw hours. It's in how your understanding builds. Each new word you learn makes it easier to grasp the next. Each grammatical concept you internalize reinforces the previous ones.
I can see that. When you understand basic sentence structure, learning more complex clauses becomes less daunting. It's like you're building on a solid foundation.
Exactly. And that's the compounding effect in learning. You're not just accumulating facts, you're developing a deeper, more interconnected understanding. This compound knowledge then allows you to learn even faster in the future. Think about a musician who practices scales for 20 minutes every day. Initially, it might seem tedious, but over months and years, those consistent practice sessions compound. Their finger dexterity improves, their musical ear sharpens, their ability to improvise blossoms. It's not just about playing the notes, it's about the artistry that emerges from that sustained effort.
And the same applies to building good habits, right? We touched on that briefly in episode 2.
Oh, absolutely. Habits are one of the most powerful compounding machines we have. Think about building a habit of reading. If you commit to reading just 10 pages a day, that's roughly a book and a half a month, or about 18 books a year. Over a decade, that's close to 200 books. But it's more than just the number of books. Each book you read expands your vocabulary, exposes you to new ideas, and improves your comprehension skills. This compound effect makes subsequent reading faster and more enjoyable.
And the more you read, the more you want to read, because it's no longer a chore. It becomes part of who you are.
Precisely. You've created a positive feedback loop. Conversely, compounding can also work negatively. Think about small, unhealthy habits. Skipping a workout here, eating an unhealthy snack there. Individually, they seem insignificant, but compounded over months and years, they lead to a decline in health and fitness. That's negative compounding.
That's a sobering thought, that we can compound negative outcomes just as easily as positive ones if we're not mindful.
It underscores the importance of conscious choice and consistency. The principle is simple, but its application requires discipline. It's about understanding that today's small actions are the building blocks of tomorrow's significant results. It's about choosing actions that will compound positively.
So, To harness this power of compounding, we need to identify which areas of our lives we want to see exponential growth in, and then commit to consistent, small, positive actions in those areas, resisting the temptation for immediate, fleeting gratification.
That's a perfect summary. Lisa, it's not about trying to make huge leaps. It's about making small, sustainable improvements consistently. The universe of compounding will do the heavy lifting for you over time. It's the slow and steady wins the race principle amplified.
It really is a wonder, then. The idea that consistent, modest effort can lead to such extraordinary outcomes is incredibly empowering.
Is truly the eighth wonder. It encourages us to play the long game, to be patient, and to trust the process. When you understand compounding, you stop looking for shortcuts or quick fixes. You embrace the journey of consistent effort, knowing that the returns will eventually be exponential.
So, we've learned that compounding isn't just about financial gains, but applies to skills, habits, knowledge, and even our well being. The key is consistent, small, positive actions, fueled by the delayed gratification we discussed last time, allowing time to work its magic and multiply our efforts.
That's right. Compounding is the engine of exponential growth. It's the secret sauce for achieving remarkable things over the long term.
Fascinating. And I think it lays the perfect groundwork for our next episode, where we'll be discussing patience as a superpower.
Indeed, it does. Next episode, Patience as a Superpower. Welcome back to Think Long Term, Infinite Game, Short World. Last time, we dove deep into the remarkable power of delayed gratification. Today, we're exploring patience as an active, strategic superpower.
In our fast paced world, it's so easy to get caught up in the rush. But you're saying patience isn't about being slow, it's about being deliberate.
Exactly. Think about a master gardener. They plant a seed, nurture it, and trust the process. They understand that true growth takes time. That's the essence of patience as a superpower. It allows us to see beyond the immediate and focus on the sustainable, long-term outcome.
So, how does this tie back to our discussion on delayed gratification?
They're incredibly intertwined. Delayed gratification is the ability to resist that immediate impulse. Patience is the strategy and the mindset that allows us to hold that course over time. It's the fuel that keeps the engine of delayed gratification running towards its destination. If you delay gratification but lack patience, you might give up just before the breakthrough.
I see. It's like you've decided to save money, but if you lack patience, you might dip into those savings the moment you feel stressed. Patience is what helps you stick with a saving plan, right?
Precisely. And this deliberate approach has profound effects on our decision making. When we're not rushing, we have the space to gather more information, analyze situations more thoroughly, and consider the potential ripple effects of our choices. Ever made a hasty decision you regretted?
Oh, absolutely. Usually when I'm tired or stressed. My brain feels like it's on autopilot.
That's impatience at play. When we're patient, we can pause, breathe, and engage our more thoughtful, analytical selves. It's like the difference between reacting and responding. Impatience often leads to reactions. Patience allows for a considered response.
So, it gives us mental clarity. That's a huge advantage in any aspect of life.
Absolutely. And beyond decision making, patience fosters deeper understanding. When you're patient with a learning process, you're not just cramming facts. You're allowing the information to sink in, to connect with existing knowledge, and to form a more robust and integrated understanding. Think about learning a new skill like playing a musical instrument. You wouldn't expect to play a concerto after one lesson.
Definitely not. You practice, you stumble, you repeat. Patience is key to mastering it. You have to be patient with the repetitive practice and with the slow progress.
And during that process, You're not just learning notes. You're developing muscle memory, understanding theory, and cultivating an ear. All these layers of understanding emerge over time with consistent, patient effort. It's that consistent effort that brings compounding success. Remember our episode on compounding?
Oh, yes, the eighth wonder of the world. So, patience is the steady hand guiding the compounding growth.
Exactly. Compounding doesn't happen because of a single brilliant stroke of luck. It happens because of consistent, small, incremental gains over a long period, fueled by patience. Whether it's in our finances, our health, our knowledge, or our relationships, the most significant growth often occurs in the later stages after a long period of patient cultivation.
This is making me reevaluate a lot of my own approaches. I tend to want to see results quickly and can get discouraged if I don't. When I don't see immediate progress, I might even question if I'm on the right track.
That's a very common feeling, and it's where the superpower of patience truly shines. It allows us to weather those inevitable short-term setbacks and plateaus. Every journey, especially one geared towards the infinite game, will have its dips and challenges. Impatience makes these feel like insurmountable walls. Patience helps us see them as temporary bumps on the road, opportunities to learn and adjust our path.
So, instead of giving up when things get tough, patience encourages us to view it as part of the process. It's about resilience, isn't it?
It absolutely is. Patience and resilience are like two sides of the same coin. Patience allows us to endure the waiting, the effort, the uncertainty, and the setbacks, while resilience is the inner strength that helps us bounce back and keep going. It's the quiet confidence that says, this is hard right now, but I have the capacity to persist, and the long-term reward is worth this temporary struggle.
Let's try to unpack this a bit more for our listeners. Can we think of a tangible analogy for how patience helps us navigate setbacks?
Imagine you're building a sturdy bridge. You're laying down one foundation stone at a time. Suddenly, a storm comes, and parts of your early work are washed away. Impatience would have you raging at the storm, abandoning the project. Patience, however, would have you observe the storm, assess the damage, and then systematically rebuild, perhaps even reinforcing your foundations. You understand that the bridge's overall strength and purpose depend on your ability to persevere through the challenges.
That's a great image. It highlights how patience isn't about ignoring the problem, but about having the fortitude to address it without giving up on the end goal. It's about long-term vision in the face of short-term disruption.
And this patient approach also cultivates a greater appreciation for the journey itself. When we're solely focused on the destination, we can miss the valuable lessons and experiences along the way. Patience allows us to be present, to learn from each step, and to find fulfillment not just in the achievement, but in the process of becoming.
So, to recap for our listeners, patience isn't passive waiting. It's an active superpower that allows for better decision-making by giving us time to gather information and analyze. It fosters deeper understanding by allowing concepts to truly sink in. It's the consistent engine that powers compounding growth, and crucially, it equips us with the resilience to navigate inevitable setbacks.
You've got it, Lisa. It's the quiet force that enables us to play the infinite game effectively. In a world that often rewards speed, cultivating genuine patience is a profound strategic advantage. It allows us to build something truly lasting, something that can weather the storms and endure over time.
It really is a superpower when you frame it that way. It's about choosing the more difficult, but ultimately more rewarding path of deliberate growth over the fleeting satisfaction of instant results.
Indeed. And next time, we'll explore another facet of this long-term thinking, building your legacy. What does it truly mean to build something that lasts beyond yourself? Next episode, building your legacy beyond wealth. Welcome back to Think Long Term. Last time we explored the incredible power of patience. Now we're shifting our focus to something even grander, building a legacy.
That's right, Alex. We've talked about the infinite game, delayed gratification, and compounding success. All of these are building blocks. But today we're asking, what kind of structure are we building with those blocks? What will stand long after we're gone? And how do we ensure it's something truly valuable?
Exactly. Legacy often gets confused with just accumulating wealth or fame. While those can be part of a legacy, they're by no means the whole story, and often not even the most important part. True legacy is about the positive impact we create, the value we leave behind, and the way we influence the future.
So it's not just about what we own, but what we create and give.
Precisely. It's about the ripple effect of our actions. Think about it like planting a tree. You might not see the full shade it provides for decades, but the act of planting it, nurturing it, that's the start of its legacy. And that tree will continue to provide for generations.
That's a beautiful analogy. So, how do we start cultivating this kind of impact, this lasting value, in a way that feels authentic to us and beneficial to others?
It begins with a shift in perspective. Instead of asking, what's in it for me right now? We ask, what positive change can I help create that will endure? This naturally leads us to consider our unique strengths, our passions, and the problems we see in the world that we feel compelled to address.
It's about identifying our purpose beyond immediate personal gain. And this purpose doesn't have to be some grand, world altering mission, does it?
Absolutely not. Building a legacy can happen on many scales. It could be raising children with strong values and a compassionate outlook. It could be mentoring a young professional, sharing your hard-earned knowledge, and helping them avoid pitfalls you encountered. It could be starting a business with ethical practices that treats its employees exceptionally well.
So, it's about the ingrained principles and the positive influence we pass on, whether that's through our family, our work, or our community.
Exactly. And remember our discussions on compounding? The same principle applies to building a positive legacy. One good deed, one act of kindness, one piece of valuable knowledge shared, it doesn't just end there. It can inspire others, who then go on to do good themselves, creating a chain reaction of positive impact.
That's powerful. It means even small, consistent efforts can build into something substantial over time. It's like that compounding interest we talked about, but for good.
Precisely. And this often involves a degree of strategic sacrifice, or at least prioritizing long-term impact over short-term comfort. It's about investing your time, energy, and resources into projects or relationships that have the potential for lasting good, even if the immediate return isn't as flashy.
This ties back to delayed gratification, doesn't it? We have to be willing to forego immediate rewards for that larger, more enduring outcome.
It's a fundamental connection. And when we talk about legacy, we're also talking about something that's deeply personal. What kind of world do you want to have been a part of shaping? What values do you want to be remembered for upholding? This introspection is crucial.
It sounds like a process of intentional creation, not just letting things happen, but actively deciding what you want to leave behind.
That's a great way to put it. And it's a continuous process. Building a legacy isn't a one-time event. It's woven into the fabric of our daily lives when we adopt this long-term, impact-focused mindset. It means making choices from the projects we take on, to the conversations we have, to the way we treat others, with that future impact in mind.
So, it's about consistency and intention. Are there specific areas where people tend to focus when building a legacy beyond just material wealth?
Definitely. Many people focus on what we might call institutional memory or contributing to a field of knowledge. This could be through writing books, developing new technologies or methodologies, or even preserving historical information. They are building on the cumulative knowledge of humanity.
Like scientists who dedicate their lives to research, or artists whose work continues to inspire generations.
Exactly. Others focus on social impact, establishing charities, advocating for important causes, or creating community programs that uplift and support people. This is about leaving a legacy of positive social change. And then, of course, there's the personal legacy, which touches upon family, friendships, and the direct impact we have on individuals. Passing on wisdom, fostering strong relationships, and simply being a positive presence in people's lives are all profound forms of legacy.
It seems like these different avenues for legacy aren't mutually exclusive. You can contribute to knowledge and social impact. For instance,
Absolutely. The most powerful legacies often span multiple areas. And while we're talking about beyond wealth, it's important to acknowledge that financial resources can be a tool to amplify a legacy. Setting up endowments, funding research, or supporting nonprofits can be incredibly effective ways to ensure your values and vision continue to make a difference. The key is that the wealth serves the legacy, not the other way around.
so wealth becomes a vehicle for impact rather than the destination itself.
Precisely. And this mindset also helps us navigate setbacks. If our goal is simply to get rich quick, a failure can be devastating. But if our goal is to build something meaningful that will endure, a setback is just a deviation, an opportunity to learn and recalibrate, rather than an end to our efforts.
It reframes challenges as part of the building process rather than obstacles to success.
Yes. And as we look towards building this lasting impact, it's also about cultivating the right mindset within ourselves and encouraging it in others. This involves fostering a sense of responsibility and understanding that our actions have consequences that extend far beyond our own lifespan.
So, to recap, building a legacy is about creating lasting positive impact, transcending personal gain. It involves a shift in perspective from what's in it for me to what good can I help create. We can build legacy through contributions to knowledge, social change, or personal relationships, and it's amplified through consistent, intentional actions and sometimes strategic use of resources.
You've summarized it perfectly, Lisa. It's about living a life that echoes in the future, not just with what you achieved, but with the good you left behind. It's a journey that starts with intention and continues with consistent effort, building something truly magnificent, one valuable brick at a time.
It really puts the infinite game into perspective. It's not just about playing indefinitely, but about what you leave on the board for the next players.
Exactly. And that leads us perfectly into our next episode, where we'll explore cultivating a growth mindset for this long haul. How do we keep ourselves evolving and adapting to ensure our efforts to build a lasting impact continue to be effective?
Looking forward to it.
Thanks for listening. Welcome back to Think Long Term. Last time, we explored the profound power of patience. Today, we're diving into something equally crucial, cultivating a growth mindset. This is episode 6, and we'll unpack its essential role.
That's right, Alex. Patience was about enduring. Now we're shaping our ability to learn and improve when things get tough. A growth mindset feels like the engine that keeps us moving forward.
Exactly. So, what is a growth mindset? It's the belief that our abilities and intelligence can be developed through dedication and hard work. Our brains and talents are just the starting point. A fixed mindset sees talent as a done deal. You're smart or you're not.
And that's limiting. If you believe you're not good at something, you're not going to try hard. You might give up early.
Precisely. A growth mindset embraces challenges. It sees effort as the path to mastery. Instead of I'm not good at this, it's I'm not good at this yet. Failure isn't a sign of inadequacy. It's a stepping stone, an opportunity to learn.
I love that distinction. Not yet. That shifts so much. It implies possibility. So, How does this connect to the infinite game and resilience from episode 4?
Great question. Remember resilience, the ability to bounce back? A growth mindset is the philosophical undergirding of that resilience. If you believe your abilities are fixed, a setback feels like a personal blow. But with a growth mindset, a setback is a chance to analyze, learn, and pivot. It's about how you get back up and what you've learned.
So, instead of seeing a failed project as proof you're not cut out for something, you see it as valuable data. You learn what not to do next time.
Exactly. This is crucial for long-term endeavors. The infinite game is about staying in the game, adapting, and improving. If you're constantly discouraged, you won't last. A growth mindset fuels sustained effort. It allows us to view difficulties as opportunities for growth.
This also touches on effort. In a growth mindset, effort is seen as a positive contributor to success, not a sign of weakness. If you work hard, it means you're actively building your skills.
That's a fantastic point. We often applaud innate talent, but sustainable success in the long run is built on dedication and persistent effort, fueled by a growth mindset. Think of any master. Their journey was paved with immense effort and learning from missteps.
It's like building a muscle, right? You get strong by consistently lifting weights, pushing yourself, and recovering. Each workout makes you stronger.
A perfect analogy. And just like with a muscle, you need to challenge yourself. If you avoid challenges because you fear failure, your mindset won't grow. Embracing challenges is key to developing your abilities.
So, how do we actively cultivate this? It sounds like more than just reading.
It is. Cultivating a growth mindset is an ongoing practice. One of the most effective ways is to become aware of your own self-talk. When you think, I can't do this, pause. Reframe it. Ask yourself, what can I do to learn this? It's about consciously choosing a more empowering narrative.
That internal dialogue is so powerful. Being mindful of it would be the first step to changing it. What else can we do?
Seeking out feedback and viewing it constructively is huge. People with a fixed mindset see feedback as criticism. Someone with a growth mindset sees feedback as valuable information to improve. They ask, how can I do better?
That's a really important nuance. It's not just about receiving feedback, but how you interpret it. Viewing it as guidance, not judgment.
Exactly. And then there's learning from the success of others. Instead of envy, a growth mindset allows us to see their success as inspiration. We can learn from their strategies and their path. It broadens our understanding of what's possible.
So, to recap cultivating a growth mindset, reframe self-talk with not yet. Actively seek and embrace constructive feedback. Learn from the successes of others for inspiration and insight.
That's a great summary. And it all ties back to the infinite game. Our ability to learn, adapt, and push past limits is paramount. A growth mindset is fundamental for playing effectively and finding fulfillment in the journey. It's about continuously evolving, and that's how you build something that lasts.
It's about seeing every challenge not as a dead end, but as a detour that can reveal a new and better path. That's a powerful way to approach life.
Absolutely. So, remember that your potential is not fixed. It's something you can actively develop. Keep challenging yourself, keep learning, and keep believing in your capacity to grow.
Next episode, the art of strategic waiting.
Welcome back to Think Long Term, Infinite Game, Short World. Today, we explore the art of strategic waiting.
Strategic waiting. That sounds almost counterintuitive to progress, Alex. Isn't the goal always to seize opportunities?
It's a great question, Lisa. While progress is vital, knowing when to act and when to hold back and let things develop is a truly powerful skill. It's about playing the long game, not just reacting to every impulse. Remember our discussion on growth mindset? Strategic waiting is about recognizing that sometimes the best learning, the best preparation happens before the big move.
So, it's not about being passive, but about being patient with purpose.
Exactly. It's an active form of patience. Think about a gardener. They plant seeds and then wait, understanding that rushing the process can damage the plant. Strategic waiting applies that principle to our goals.
So, we're not just waiting, we're waiting for the right conditions to make something happen.
Precisely. This applies to investing. Instead of trying to time the market, a more effective strategy is consistent investing and waiting for your investments to grow. This is the compounding we discussed earlier.
So, instead of trying to outsmart the market, you're letting its natural growth work for you.
Yes, consider a business launching a new product. If the market isn't quite ready, a wise company might delay its launch to enter at the optimal time. They are strategizing and waiting for the perfect window.
This requires self-awareness and discipline, doesn't it? To resist the urge to jump in before it's truly ripe.
Absolutely. It demands understanding the situation. Are external conditions favorable? Are you ready? Do you have the resources and knowledge? This leads us to personal readiness. If we haven't developed the necessary skills for a goal, jumping in too soon can lead to failure.
It reminds me of learning a new complex skill. I waited until I could enroll in a structured course, which made the actual learning process much smoother.
That's a perfect example. You recognized your own readiness. Strategic waiting involves assessing your own capacity and the environment's capacity. It's about recognizing that sometimes the most productive thing you can do is continue learning or refining skills. This is thoughtful preparation.
How do we distinguish between strategic waiting and procrastination? Procrastination feels like waiting because you don't want to do it, while strategic waiting is waiting because it's the smartest thing to do.
That's a crucial distinction. Procrastination is often driven by avoidance. Strategic waiting is characterized by clear intention and a plan. When strategically waiting, you're actively using that time for research, planning, or development. There's a sense of purpose and progress.
So, the waiting period itself is productive, even if it doesn't look like the final outcome. It's building the bridge to get there.
Exactly. It's about allowing situations to mature. In negotiation, a tactic might be to introduce your offer and then allow the other party time to consider it. Rushing them might lead to a premature no.
It's about understanding that time itself can be an agent of change.
Precisely. Time can soften opposition, clarify thinking, and create new opportunities. Sometimes, problems resolve themselves if you give them enough time. Or, a competitor's misstep might create an opening. This leads us to allowing external factors to align.
External factors, like waiting for a particular technology to become more accessible.
Yes, imagine wanting to start a business that relies on advanced AI. If that technology is still prohibitively expensive, it's strategic to wait. You monitor its development, understand its capabilities, and then act when it becomes a viable tool. This is the patience we discussed earlier, applied with a tactical understanding of external conditions.
So, summing up, the art of strategic waiting isn't about idleness. It's about understanding the right moment to act. It involves assessing personal readiness, market conditions, and external factors. It requires discipline to avoid rushing and is distinguished from procrastination by its active, purposeful nature. The waiting period is often filled with productive preparation.
That's a perfect summary, Lisa. It's about recognizing that sometimes the smartest move is the pause. It allows for maturity, for clarity, and for the opportune moment to reveal itself. It's a vital component of the infinite game.
It really puts the strategic in strategic waiting. It's a calculated decision to let time work in your favor.
Indeed, and this concept of deliberate action or non-action sets us up beautifully for our next episode, where we'll explore forging unbreakable habits. Because habits are the engines that power our long-term goals, whether we're actively moving forward or strategically waiting.
Excellent. Next episode, Forging Unbreakable Habits.
Welcome back. Last time we covered the art of strategic waiting. Today, we're forging unbreakable habits.
Unbreakable habits, if only they felt that way all the time, Alex. My own habits sometimes feel more like stubborn weeds. How do these habits fit into the infinite game?
Habits are the engine of your long-term strategy. Lisa, think of the infinite game as a marathon. Habits are your consistent training. They're the disciplined actions from episode 2 that fuel compounding growth, as we discussed in episode 3. Without them, even the best plans falter.
So it's the small daily actions, not big leaps, that create a machine working for us?
Precisely. Imagine a gardener. They water and weed each day. Those consistent actions build a flourishing garden. Positive habits are our seeds of success, and consistent effort is the tending.
That's a beautiful image. But how do we actually forge these unbreakable habits? It feels a bit daunting.
It starts with understanding the habit loop. Cue, routine, reward. A cue triggers a behavior. The routine is the behavior itself. The reward reinforces it, telling your brain if it's worth remembering.
Like waking up as the cue, making coffee as the routine, and enjoying its taste as the reward?
Exactly. For a positive habit, make the cue obvious, the routine easy, and the reward satisfying. To break a bad habit, make the cue invisible, the routine difficult, and the reward unsatisfying.
Let's focus on building good habits. Obvious cues. So, if I want to exercise, I make it unavoidable?
Yes, lay out your clothes. Put your shoes by the door. Make the cue impossible to ignore.
And the routine must be easy. I often aim too high here.
That's common. We overestimate daily capacity. For a new habit, make it incredibly simple to start. Read one page. Meditate for 1 minute. The goal is to establish the habit itself, not immediate, immense results. Consistency is the victory.
So, showing up becomes unbreakable, even if the action is tiny. How do we make the reward satisfying?
Often, the reward is intrinsic, the accomplishment, the energy. But add small, immediate rewards. A nice glass of water after meditation. A check mark on a habit tracker. These small celebrations reinforce the positive feeling.
A habit tracker provides a visual win.
It does. And it links to habit stacking. After I current habit, I will new habit. For instance, after I brush my teeth, I will meditate for 1 minute. You're adding to an established routine.
That makes sense. My brain already knows what to do after brushing, so it's just adding a small step.
Exactly. Remember the growth mindset from episode 6? These small steps reinforce the belief that you can learn and grow by building positive routines.
This reframes habits from willpower struggles to deliberate design. But what about breaking bad habits? Making cues invisible, routines difficult, rewards unsatisfying?
Let's say you want to stop snacking when bored. The cue is boredom. The routine is grabbing snacks. The reward is temporary pleasure. To break it, keep snacks out of sight, making the cue invisible and the routine difficult.
If the snacks aren't there, I can't perform the routine.
Right? Now, making the routine difficult. If you crave a snack, perhaps you decide you must walk to a specific store across town. That effort makes it less appealing. For the reward, focus on the negative consequences, lack of energy, guilt, making the reward unsatisfying.
It's about shifting focus from instant pleasure to long-term impact.
Precisely. Another strategy for breaking bad habits is temptation bundling, where you pair an action you want to do with one you need to do. Only listen to your favorite podcast while exercising.
Oh, I love that. The enjoyable thing becomes the reward for the necessary action.
It makes the desired habit more appealing and the undesired habit less likely, because the context has shifted.
We've covered the cue, routine, reward loop, making good habits easy and bad habits hard, habit stacking, and temptation bundling. It's about intentional sculpting of our behavior.
That's it. Unbreakable habits are built through intelligent design and consistent, small actions. They're the foundation for compounding growth, as we saw in episode 3. These habits embody the patience and delayed gratification from earlier episodes, trusting the process day by day.
So, these routines drive our infinite game, ensuring today's efforts build tomorrow. Building habits isn't just about routines, it's about becoming the kind of person who can achieve long-term goals. It's profound personal growth.
Indeed. To recap, habit formation follows the cue, routine, reward loop. Build good habits by making cues obvious, routines easy, and rewards satisfying. Break bad habits by doing the opposite. Use habit stacking and temptation bundling. Remember, consistency over perfection.
This has been incredibly actionable, Alex. I feel much clearer on forging unbreakable habits.
Wonderful. And that brings us to the end of this episode. Next episode, navigating setbacks with resilience. Welcome back to Think Long Term. Last time, we explored the power of forging unbreakable habits. Today, we're diving into a topic that's absolutely essential for anyone playing the long game: navigating setbacks with resilience.
That's right, Alex. We've talked so much about patience and the compounding effects of our actions, but let's be honest, the journey isn't always smooth sailing, is it? Setbacks are inevitable. So, how do we keep moving forward when things go wrong?
Exactly. And that's where resilience comes in. Resilience isn't about avoiding problems. It's about how we respond to them. It's that inner strength that helps us bounce back, learn, and adapt when we face challenges. Think of it like a flexible reed in the wind. It bends, but it doesn't break.
A great analogy. So, for someone listening, what's the first step to building this resilience? It can feel overwhelming when you're in the middle of a setback.
The first step is acceptance. It sounds simple, but acknowledging that a setback has happened, without immediately trying to deny it or blame others, is powerful. This isn't about resignation. It's about facing reality so you can then figure out a path forward. We often waste so much energy fighting the fact that something didn't go as planned.
So, instead of, why is this happening to me? It's more of a, okay, this has happened. Now what?
Precisely. And then comes the crucial part: learning. Every setback, no matter how painful, carries lessons. The key is to actively seek them out. Ask yourself, what went wrong? What could I have done differently? What did this situation teach me about myself or the process?
That can be tough, especially if the setback feels like a personal failure. It's easy to get stuck in a loop of negative self-talk.
It absolutely is. That's why reframing is so important. Instead of viewing a setback as an endpoint, a definitive failure, we need to see it as a redirection. It's a detour, not a dead end. Remember how we talked about the growth mindset? This is where that truly shines. A setback in a growth mindset is an opportunity to learn and improve, not a confirmation of a fixed limitation.
So, it's about shifting from I failed to I learned what doesn't work.
You got it. And to help with this reframing and learning, it's beneficial to break down the setback. What were the specific contributing factors? Often, a big setback isn't caused by one single thing, but a combination of smaller issues. Identifying these components helps make the problem feel more manageable.
That makes sense. When you can pinpoint the small things, you can start to address them one by one. It prevents that feeling of being completely swamped.
Exactly. And this brings us to another vital element of resilience: leaning on your support system. You don't have to go through challenges alone. Talking to friends, Family, mentors, or even a professional can provide invaluable perspective, emotional support, and practical advice.
It's so true. Sometimes, just voicing your struggles to someone else can lighten the burden and spark new ideas. They might see a solution you're too close to notice.
Absolutely. And sometimes the best way to build resilience is through proactive measures, strengthening yourself before the inevitable storm hits. This means regularly practicing self-care. Good sleep, healthy eating, exercise, and activities that bring you joy aren't just luxuries. They're essential building blocks for mental and emotional fortitude.
So, it's about building up your reserves, your capacity to withstand stress.
Precisely. Think of it like building a strong immune system. The healthier you are, the better equipped you are to fight off illness. Similarly, the more you invest in your well-being, the more robust you'll be when facing life's challenges. And this ties back to the habits we discussed in the last episode. Consistently practicing good habits in easier times makes you stronger when things get tough.
That's a fantastic connection, Alex. So, acceptance, learning, reframing, breaking down the problem, seeking support, and proactive self care. That's a powerful toolkit for resilience. But what about maintaining momentum after you've navigated a setback? How do you avoid getting completely derailed?
That's where re-engagement and focusing on small wins come in. Once you've analyzed and learned, it's time to gently re-engage with your goals. Don't expect to jump back to where you were overnight. Focus on taking the very next actionable step, however small. Celebrate these small victories. They build confidence and remind you that progress is still possible.
So, if your big project was delayed, the small win might be completing the research for the next phase, or just making one important phone call.
Exactly. And consistently focusing on what you can control is vital. When we're dealing with setbacks, it's easy to fixate on what's outside our influence. But resilience is about directing your energy towards your sphere of control. What actions can you take right now? What decisions can you make?
That keeps the focus on empowerment, which is so important when you feel like things have been taken out of your hands.
It really is. Now, let's quickly recap the core ideas we've touched on today. We've established that setbacks are a natural part of any long-term endeavor. The first step to navigating them is acceptance, acknowledging what has happened. Then, we must actively seek out the lessons within the setback, reframing it not as an endpoint, but as a redirection or a learning opportunity. Breaking down complex problems into smaller, more manageable parts also helps.
And we learned about the importance of not going it alone by leaning on our support systems and proactively building our capacity for resilience through self care and strong habits. Finally, to maintain momentum, we focus on re engaging with our goals through small wins and concentrating on what we can control.
That's a perfect summary, Lisa. Building resilience is an ongoing practice, not a destination. It's the bedrock of playing the infinite game. By developing these skills, we become not just more successful in the long run, but also more adaptable and fulfilled human beings.
It truly is about building that inner strength to keep going. So, we've covered compounding, patience, habits, and now resilience. It's all building towards a powerful way of thinking about our lives and goals.
That's right. And in our next episode, we'll be looking even further ahead, exploring the profound concept of generational thinking. We'll discuss how to make decisions today that will benefit not just ourselves, but also future generations.
That sounds fascinating, Alex. I'm really looking forward to it.
Me too. So that's it for episode 9 of Think Long Term. Next episode, the wisdom of generational thinking. Welcome back to Think Long Term. Today, we're exploring generational thinking.
Generational thinking sounds like looking way beyond ourselves, doesn't it?
Exactly. It's about making decisions and building systems that benefit our descendants, thinking in decades and centuries.
So, like planting a tree you'll never enjoy the shade of, but future generations will?
That's a perfect analogy. This concept has practical applications, like intergenerational wealth transfer, which is a financial legacy, but it goes much deeper.
Beyond money, what else can we pass on? Knowledge and values come to mind.
Precisely. Knowledge is a powerful generational asset. Think of ancient scribes preserving manuscripts or today's scientific documentation. We're building a library of wisdom.
And the values we instill in our children become guiding principles for their decisions, creating a ripple effect.
Absolutely. If you're thinking generationally, you're less likely to make short-sighted decisions. You'll consider sustainability, the planet's health, and lasting social equity.
That makes sense. It's about building resilient, enduring systems, not just quick fixes. It connects to our earlier talks on habits and discipline, doesn't it? Strong foundations support generations.
It absolutely does. Remember forging unbreakable habits? Generational thinking means building habits not just for ourselves, but for the structures we create, family, business, or community. We're setting up processes that can run and evolve effectively for long periods.
So, practically speaking, how does someone adopt this thinking? Where do they start?
A great starting point is to consider your why. Is it just for immediate satisfaction? Or is there a larger purpose beyond your lifetime? Asking, who will this benefit in 50 years? Or what kind of world do I want to leave behind? Can be powerful prompts.
That's a great question. It likely influences projects, investments, and even career paths.
Exactly. If you're focused only on short-term returns, you might chase fads. But generationally, you might invest in sustainable industries or education, things with lasting, positive impact. You're not just growing capital, you're growing influence for good.
That relates to building a legacy that goes beyond wealth, but amplified. It's about enduring impact.
Indeed, it requires a different kind of planning beyond accumulation. It's about creating robust systems for management and transfer. This might involve legal structures, educational programs for heirs, or trusts. The key is anticipating future needs and challenges.
So, it's also about preparing those who will inherit or benefit. Not just handing things over, but equipping them to manage it wisely.
You've hit on a crucial point. Knowledge sharing is paramount. We must pass on what we know, how we learned it, our mistakes, and our wisdom. This prevents future generations from reinventing the wheel or repeating errors. It's about collective learning and growth.
It sounds like a profound responsibility, but also deeply rewarding. It allows us to feel part of something much bigger.
It is. And remember, this isn't about perfection, but intention and consistent effort to think beyond the immediate. Even small actions, viewed generationally, can have significant long-term consequences. Teaching a child a skill or advocating for environmental policies are investments in the future.
It feels like a more mindful way to live. Knowing choices today can echo for generations. It adds purpose to everyday actions.
And that ties beautifully to the infinite game concept from our first episode. Generational thinking is the ultimate expression of playing the infinite game, focusing on a long-term vision and continuous contribution, not the win or lose of a short-term contest.
Right. The endless playbook, where the goal is to keep the game going, improving and contributing for as long as possible. I'm picturing building something strong, enduring, and nurtured by those who come after us.
Precisely. It's about fostering a legacy of wisdom, values, and positive impact. It's about ensuring good work continues, lessons learned are preserved, and future generations have the resources and mindset to thrive. It's the ultimate compounding effect, compounding impact across time.
So, to sum up, generational thinking means making decisions and building systems with the long-term well-being of future generations in mind. It involves transferring wealth, knowledge, values, and a commitment to a better future. We act as stewards for what comes next, ensuring a positive ripple effect across time.
That's a perfect summary, Lisa. It encourages us to think about our ultimate purpose, build enduring legacies, and truly play the infinite game. Next episode, Mastering Your Personal Compounding Machine. Welcome back. Last time we explored the wisdom of generational thinking. Today, we are mastering your personal compounding machine.
That sounds powerful, Alex. It feels like we're taking the core idea of compounding, which we first touched on in episode 3, and now applying it squarely to ourselves.
Exactly, Lisa. We talked about how financial investments grow with compounding interest, where your earnings start earning their own earnings. It's like a snowball rolling downhill, gathering more snow and getting bigger faster. But what if we could apply that same principle to our personal growth, our skills, our relationships, even our well-being?
So, instead of just earning interest, we're earning better habits, deeper knowledge, stronger connections, and then those earnings lead to even more positive growth. It's about creating a positive feedback loop in our own lives.
Precisely. Think about it. If you learn one new thing today, that's a small gain. But if that new knowledge allows you to learn something else more easily tomorrow, and then that combination helps you solve a problem more efficiently next week, you're compounding your learning. It's not just adding 1 plus 1. It's like 1 multiplied by itself, then that result multiplied again.
That really drives home the infinite game concept. It's not about quick wins, but about setting up systems that generate continuous improvement over time. So, how do we actually master this personal compounding machine? Where do we start?
The first step, and this circles back to several of our earlier episodes, is cultivating that growth mindset. We need to genuinely believe that we can improve and that our efforts compound. This means embracing challenges, seeing efforts as pathways to mastery, and learning from criticism. If you think you're stuck with a fixed set of abilities, you'll never even try to compound them.
That makes sense. If I believe I'm just not good at public speaking, I'll avoid opportunities to practice, and thus, I'll never compound my public speaking skills. But if I adopt a growth mindset and see it as a skill to develop, I'll seek out chances to speak, even if I'm initially uncomfortable.
You've hit on a key area, compounding skills. It's not usually about learning one isolated skill. Often, learning one skill makes another skill easier to acquire or more powerful to use. For example, learning a new language can enhance your cognitive flexibility, which in turn can help you learn other subjects faster. Or, mastering a specific software can lead to opportunities in related fields you hadn't even considered.
It's like building foundational blocks. Each new skill adds to the foundation, making it stronger and allowing you to build higher structures. So, what about habits? We've talked about habits before, but how do they fit into compounding?
Habits are the engine of your personal compounding machine. Recall our episode on forging unbreakable habits. Each positive habit you build, like exercising regularly, reading daily, or practicing mindfulness, is a small deposit into your personal growth account. Initially, the effects are subtle. You might not feel dramatically different after one healthy meal or one day of reading.
But over time, those small, consistent actions add up. If I start a simple habit of drinking an extra glass of water each day, it might not change much overnight. But a year from now, that consistent hydration contributes to better skin, more energy, and fewer headaches. That's a compounded benefit from a simple action.
Exactly. And it's not just about the direct benefit. A positive habit can often enable other positive habits. For instance, someone who commits to a morning exercise routine might find they naturally feel more motivated to eat healthier meals throughout the day, and they might sleep better at night. One habit compounds its positive influence onto other areas of life.
So, the compounding isn't just linear, it's exponential, and it can spread to different aspects of our lives. This is really encouraging. What about our relationships? Can we compound our connections?
Absolutely. Think about investing time and genuine attention into your relationships. A thoughtful conversation, a small act of kindness, actively listening, these aren't just one-off events. They build trust, deepen understanding, and strengthen bonds over time. Each positive interaction, when consistently applied, compounds the strength and resilience of your relationships.
It's like nurturing a garden. You water and tend to your plants regularly. Each act of care might seem small, but over the season, it leads to abundant growth and beautiful blooms. Neglect, on the other hand, causes the garden to wither, which is the opposite of compounding.
A perfect analogy, Lisa, and compounding in relationships can also mean that the stronger your connections become, the more support, opportunities, and positive influence you have in your life. It's a virtuous cycle. Remember when we discussed generational thinking? Strong, healthy relationships are often the bedrock for building that kind of long-term legacy.
This is fascinating. So, we're looking at compounding skills, habits, and relationships. Are there other areas where we can apply this principle?
Definitely. Consider your personal knowledge base. Every book you read, every course you take, every documentary you watch, these are all deposits into your knowledge bank. But the real compounding happens when you connect these pieces of knowledge. When you can draw parallels between historical events and current affairs, or apply a concept from physics to a business problem. That's knowledge compounding.
It's about creating a rich, interconnected web of understanding rather than just accumulating isolated facts. That takes active effort to see and make those connections.
Precisely. It involves curiosity and a willingness to explore how different ideas fit together. And don't forget about your well-being, mental, emotional, and physical. Small, consistent practices like getting enough sleep, managing stress effectively, or practicing gratitude can compound significantly over time, leading to greater resilience, happiness, and overall health.
It feels like this entire concept boils down to making incredibly small, almost imperceptible, positive choices consistently. And the magic is that through compounding, these small choices lead to monumental, unimaginable results over the long haul.
That's the essence of it. It's about understanding that your daily actions are not isolated events, they are investments. And like any wise investor, we want to make sure we're making deposits into the areas that will yield the greatest long-term returns. So, to recap, mastering your personal compounding machine involves first, adopting a growth mindset, believing in your capacity for improvement. Second, intentionally building positive habits that act as the engine for your growth. Third, actively cultivating and investing in your relationships. And fourth, continuously learning and connecting knowledge, while also prioritizing your overall well-being.
It's about being a lifelong student of yourself and the world, and understanding that consistent, small efforts are the most powerful force for change. It's not about grand gestures, but about the steady, persistent application of positive principles.
And this approach, when applied consistently, is what allows us to build a truly fulfilling and impactful life, far beyond what quick fixes or short-term gains could ever offer. It's the quiet, powerful engine driving long-term success and well-being.
It's a truly empowering perspective. Thank you, Alex. This has been incredibly insightful.
You're welcome, Lisa. And for our listeners, remember that your personal compounding machine is always running. The question is, are you actively fueling it with positive actions? Next episode, The Infinite Game in a Finite World, Finding Balance. Welcome back to Think Long Term, Infinite Game Short World. In our final episode, we're bringing it all together. Today, we'll explore the infinite game in our finite world, finding that crucial balance.
Right, Alex? It's been an incredible journey through these concepts. We've learned how to approach life not as a series of short races, but as a continuous game with no end. But as you say, we live in a world of deadlines, bills, and the here and now. How do we reconcile the infinite game with our finite reality?
That's the million-dollar question, Lisa, and it's where the true mastery lies. The infinite game mindset isn't about ignoring the present. It's about orchestrating the present to serve a future that's always unfolding. It's like planting a tree. You're focused on the act of planting, on giving it the right soil and water today, knowing that the long-term benefit, the shade, the fruit, the oxygen, will come over many seasons.
So, instead of just thinking about the next harvest, we're thinking about the health of the orchard for generations?
Exactly. Remember in episode 3 when we discussed compounding? That's your engine for the infinite game. It doesn't just apply to finances. It applies to knowledge, skills, relationships, and even well-being. Small, consistent efforts today compound into significant advantages over time. The infinite game player understands this and invests their present energy into creating those future compounding effects, even if they won't see the full payoff.
And that connects to episode 4 about patience as a superpower. It's not about passively waiting, but actively, patiently building.
Precisely. It's about understanding that significant, long-term outcomes rarely happen overnight. They require sustained effort, a refusal to be discouraged by slow progress, and an unwavering belief in the eventual reward. It's the strategic waiting we discussed in episode 7. You don't rush the process. You allow it to unfold, making the right moves at the right time.
So, in our finite world, the infinite game player is still very much engaged with the present, but their focus is on how they engage. They're not just checking off tasks, they're performing deliberate actions that build towards that long-term vision.
Yes, and this is where habits become so vital. Episode 8 was all about forging unbreakable habits. These are the automatic pilots of our daily lives that ensure we consistently take the steps needed for the long game, even when motivation wanes. Think of them as the well-worn paths you've created that lead you towards your future self, no matter the distractions of the present.
And what happens when those paths get rocky? Episode 9 covered navigating setbacks with resilience. That's got to be key to maintaining momentum in the infinite game, especially when faced with the immediate pressures of our finite world.
Absolutely. Resilience is the ability to get back up, learn from the fall, and continue moving forward. It's the understanding that setbacks are not failures, but feedback. They are opportunities to adjust your strategy, refine your approach, and emerge stronger. An infinite game player sees a setback not as a reason to quit, but as a temporary detour.
And this is where the growth mindset from episode 6 really shines. It's that belief that challenges are opportunities to learn and grow, rather than fixed limitations.
Exactly. All these pieces are interconnected. The infinite game mindset, when integrated into our finite lives, means making choices today that are not solely dictated by immediate needs or gratification, but by a thoughtful consideration of future consequences and potential. It's about a holistic approach to our existence.
So, it's about making our finite time and resources as impactful as possible by orienting them towards an infinite future. We're playing with the cards we're dealt in the present, but we're focused on building a strong hand for all the futures to come.
That's a perfect way to put it. And it ties beautifully into the concept of legacy we touched on in episode 5 and generational thinking from episode 10. When you play the infinite game, you're inherently thinking beyond yourself. You're creating value that can extend far beyond your own lifespan. This isn't just about accumulating wealth. It's about passing on wisdom, values, and sustainable systems.
And we discussed mastering your personal compounding machine in episode 11, which was all about self-improvement and growth. It's like ensuring the engine you're using to power your infinite game is always running in top condition.
Precisely. So, to recap our entire series, we've established the core principle of the infinite game, seeing life as a continuous pursuit with no final victory or defeat, but rather a commitment to the long-term play. We then explored the fundamental tools, the power of delayed gratification and patience, the exponential force of compounding, and the resilience to navigate challenges. We emphasize the importance of cultivating a growth mindset and forging habits that support your long-term goals, enabling strategic waiting and resilience. We looked at building a legacy and thinking generationally, all powered by a personal compounding machine of continuous self-improvement.
And in this final episode, we've anchored all of that in our daily, finite reality. It's about making consistent, purposeful choices in the present that align with an unfolding future. It's about playing the long game not by neglecting today, but by wisely investing today for the best possible tomorrow and the day after that, and for all the days yet to come.
It's about finding that sweet spot where our finite actions create infinite possibilities. It's not about sacrificing your present happiness for some distant future. It's about building a present that is enriched by the anticipation and progress towards that future. It's a mindful, deliberate, and ultimately a more fulfilling way to live.
So, the infinite game in a finite world is about conscious creation. It's about understanding that our everyday decisions, however small, are the building blocks of something far grander and longer lasting. It's a hopeful and empowering perspective to end on.
It truly is.
Thanks for listening to the series.